Will? Will? Will?
Will?
No, it's not.
I did not see that coming. Let's get started on my review and thoughts of Stranger Things Season 5, Volume 1. Let's go. What's going on, all my beautiful people? This is JC, and I just finished watching Stranger Things Season 5, Volume 1. Now, before I do get started with my review, please note this will be a spoiler review. So be forewarned if you have not seen any episodes of Season 5, Volume 1 yet, because yes, I'm going to be talking all about it, my reactions, all of those things. Now, I know I'm a little late when it comes to this video, but everything with Thanksgiving and all those things has just kind of got in the way, so yeah, things have been very interesting to say the least. Without further ado, I am giving you this now. All right, so this season centers heavily on Will. Yes, that's why I started the video like that. And honestly, it's about damn time. Things kick off when Will realizes the strange visions he's been getting aren't random, and they happen whenever he's close to the hive mind. And I love seeing that aspect of not only him seeing different kids walk through the school and him getting those goosebumps. It's not just Vecna this time. I think within the past couple of seasons, I got tired of just him constantly being, I gotta say, guys, kind of a whiny baby in a sense, and kind of crying all the time and saying, oh, Vecna's here. It was almost like he was just a human alarm for the rest of the group. And they didn't really give him much to do throughout some of these seasons, except for being the damsel in distress or just being an alarm for a lot of the rest of the group. But another interesting aspect we have is Holly. She is like the central part of this season so far, and it was very interesting to say the least. Now, I wish we would have got more of a build-up, I would say, with Holly. I mean, we spent some time with her last season and her being Mike's younger sister and all those things, but I feel like, though, when it comes to her, we could have got more depth as opposed to just starting off in the season and it being mostly about her and her being snatched away from Vecna. Well, more in particular, the Demogorgon. And speaking of the Demogorgons, man, I loved especially the first two episodes, and seeing that scene of the Demogorgon taking Holly was amazing. I loved it. Now, we have gotten a lot of CGI throughout the season, it seems like, but there is a bigger budget. I know not too long ago, the Duffer Brothers revealed that they spent about 400 to 480 million on this season. And you look at the juxtaposition, because I've been rewatching the seasons the past couple of weeks, and man, season 1 to season 5 is crazy when it comes to the budget. But I love seeing how Will figures out that his very first vision wasn't just about her. He was seeing it through her eyes and even through the monsters. I remember watching the first episode and then later on rewatching it, actually rewatched with my parents because they love the show as well. I caught on to that and I thought, wow, that's what his vision was when he got dizzy. That was her on the playground. And that was pretty cool because I didn't expect that. Now, what that means is he's directly connected to the hive mind, whether he wants to be or not. Now, of course, we're going to talk about the big reveal at the end, but first, I want to get my thoughts off when it comes to the rest of the group and a lot of how these episodes played out. Now, I'm not going to lie, the first couple of episodes, I thought, okay, I like how the group is working together. I like how they're trying to take down Vecna. They're not letting him rest easy, especially Elle. She's got a lot of animosity and angst to just get to him and pretty much take him out, especially what he did with Hawkins and the separation and all those things. But I knew at some point the mission was going to fail and they were going to have to all separate and have their little one-offs or their little pairings with each other, and then they're all going to come together hopefully at the end to finish Vecna off. But the group's rescue mission for the kidnapped kids goes horribly wrong, and I did like that whole military scene. And even with Derek, now I'm not gonna lie, Derek, I didn't really like him at first. He was kind of annoying to me, but then he started to grow on me, especially with some of the things that he did to help the rest of the group in that military base when they hit that pipe and Mike and Will are trying to fix it. That was pretty hilarious. But I loved how things kind of went wrong and the group kept going on with the mission and they were hoping to still succeed. But of course, we've seen the military wants to use the children as bait to catch Elle. And that whole aspect with the military, I don't know if I'm too crazy about it, but I get a lot of what it led to, especially seeing Elle's sister. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more, but I loved how we, at least within that military type of dynamic, we saw Linda Hamilton, aka one of the stars of the Terminator films. Love her and the nod to the 80s. And speaking of the 80s, I like that whole nod to, yes, one of my favorite movies of all time, Back to the Future. I enjoyed that whole scene with Joyce not knowing what the flux capacitor is and Robin using that to distract her. That was pretty funny. But speaking of that, man, the dialogue, I will not lie, this season so far has not been perfect because, yes, I know a lot of the internet people are talking, saying, man, the dialogue is pretty cringy in here, and I will agree with that. None of these seasons have been perfect. There's some cringy moments, but I feel like personally it adds to its charm when it comes to it being a throwback type of 80s show. Now, one of the things though that threw me off and was a big surprise is as Holly is caught in Vecna's world or his land, I did not expect when I saw those boots that to be Max. I thought, okay, that's how they're gonna bring her into this story and into this season, because if you guys do know, she just got cast to be in the new Spider-Man Brand New Day film as well as the Avengers. She's expected to be in one of those films, so her time is probably limited, but I loved how they integrated that in a very unique way of her being stuck in there along with Holly. Now, I do want to for sure talk about the acting. Noah Schnapp steps up in a huge way this season. I did love seeing him a little more emotional in here, but it seems like his character is getting more depth, and honestly, out of all the group's pairings, I have to say my favorite has to be Will and Robin. I love not only the connection that they have, but also the similarities that they have in their real life. How Robin's kind of telling Will not to be fearful, not to be confused, and that comes full circle at the end of episode 4. Now, the interesting thing I thought about is that I thought for sure watching the first episode 4 is just going to be this huge cliffhanger. And although it is a cliffhanger, I didn't expect there to be some arcs still within those 4 episodes and it to be a little more fulfilling, especially that last scene. And again, I know I'm holding it off, but we're going to get there. Now, the rest of the cast shines too, especially Winona Ryder, whose fierce moments protecting the kids feels pretty authentic. Sadie Sink's return as Max adds an emotional edge, especially when we find out that she's been trapped there the whole time in Vecna Land or Vecna World. And I'm not going to lie too, even watching her trying to escape, man, that was pretty intense. And I was pretty like, I'm not going to lie, I was a little pissed because I was like, man, she has to escape this. She has to. Right? Now, again, as I mentioned, most of the dialogue is solid, but there are a few moments that land awkwardly, especially some of the jokes tossed in after serious moments. Kind of gave me Marvel vibes, not gonna lie. A couple of them feel out of place, almost like leftover bits from an earlier draft. They don't ruin anything, but they definitely make you tilt your head or scratch your head wondering why are we getting this clunky dialogue. Now again, I feel like it adds to that charm of the 80s, but nonetheless, yes, it can be kind of messy at times. Now, one of the things I do also have to talk about is the reveal of Callie. Man, I was literally jumping up and down cheering when I saw it was revealed that it was Callie, who Hopper ends up getting access to that door, opening it up, and then he goes and gets Elle and she sees her sister. This was amazing to me, okay? If you guys have not followed me, you know that I've been one of those naysayers when it comes to season 2. I mean, although I didn't think it was that bad, I for sure was pretty upset at how season 2 was supposed to be a spin-off with Callie and those other characters, but then it didn't. So I thought, what was the point of bringing her in there? And it had some cringy moments with her, with Elle trying to conform to the group and trying to be a bad girl. Like, none of it really worked for me. But seeing this arc and seeing how it's coming full circle of her being the one that the military caught and they're trying to use is amazing, because if you guys are paying attention, I feel like not only with the reveal of Will, which we will talk about, and his powers, but also Callie and Al coming together to take down Vecna, that's what I'm talking about. But speaking of Will having his powers, the highlight of the volume for sure was episode 4, and that is Will finally unlocking his own powers. Now, logically, I thought, wait, so just because you have some of Vecna and you can use some of his powers, hey, I'm gonna roll with it, because that scene was so awesome. Not only seeing Vecna having some Darth Vader / T-1000 type of powers, being unstoppable against the military, but seeing as he leaves, Will taking down those Demogorgons and protecting his friends. That was amazing. That to me was like, okay, finally the Duffer Brothers have given Will some powers and something to do. And I loved how he tapped into something deep inside of him. It was not just the powers, but also him reflecting on what he's been through as a kid, and even Robin telling him those things not to be afraid. And it was even amazing to see some of these Demogorgons just stop in mid-air. That was jaw-dropping. And those effects, as well as the cinematography, has been just chef's kiss. But now this leaves me with a lot of these questions though, and some of them I still have, and let me know if you guys have any theories or any answers to these in the comments below. But did Will find these powers because of his own strength, or did Vecna push him into awakening them on purpose? And one of the gripes I do have too as well is, I mean, we're revealed in the first episode, as it takes us back to season 1, that Vecna pretty much put a tube down Will's throat and just put some of him in it. That sounds weird, I know. But then we see at the end, okay, Will now has powers. I feel like we should have had that revealed a long time ago. But hey, I know there were some nods to it of him coughing up some of it and it turning into a demodog, in season 2. But still, nonetheless, it felt like it was pretty quick. But either way, Will leveling up feels earned, emotional, and sets the stage for something bigger. And I love it. Now, my theory, you guys, is that Will is going to be the one to die at the end. And that's just my theory. Who knows? All right. There's still episodes to come. At first, I thought it was going to be Elle. Elle's going to be the one to sacrifice herself. She's going to die at the end. But then I thought, nah, she's too big of a character for this franchise. And I thought Hop. But no, it seems like they teased that. But I don't think they're going to go back on that. And some of these other characters people have fallen in love with. But because Will has had so many seasons of him not being the biggest main standout character of this show, I feel like he's going to be the one at the end to pass. It's just me. But here are my final thoughts, you guys, on season 5, volume 1. So far, it's packed with dark twists, new mysteries, and major character moments, especially for Will and Max, more in particular, or at least my favorite moments. And full of surprises, with kids captured, Vecna still plotting, and Will's new powers finally unleashed. There's a lot to look forward to when the story continues on December 25th. Now, it was just announced too today. Tickets are on sale for the season finale in theaters on December 31st, aka New Year's Eve. So are you guys gonna go and check it out? Let me know in the comments below, as well as your theories, all right? And have you guys seen any of these episodes? If so, what were your thoughts? Last thing before I do go, you guys, please make sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell to stay up to date. My name is JC, and until next time, I'm out.